everybody. Today I'm going to do 2 more projects with my Potomac Beads treasure box for the month of December 2025. It was called Festive Radiance, and in the first video that I did with this box, I showed you all the ingredients, and I made this really stunning little pair of diamond shaped earrings. I call them diamond earrings, but they're really sweet. They have a little sparkle, a little bling at the end, one of the Montes that was in the box. And the Potomac pearls are just some of my favorite pearls. I just love the quality of them and all the different colors and sizes they're available in on the website. So I have to tell you, I was out with my son this weekend. There was a Lego event in a department store that I haven't been in a really long time. And I always like to go look at the jewelry and see what the different designers from the big brands are doing and get inspiration. And I was really surprised that I saw a lot of memory wire bracelets and a lot of pearls were mixed in on a memory wire. And I thought, well, I haven't done that in a while. So today's video is going to be kind of inspired by what I saw out in the marketplace this weekend. So I have one round of memory wire that I've cut pretty dramatically, going overlapping. So if you can see, a pretty dramatic overlap. And so if you are working with memory wire, you need memory wire cutters because it's a stainless steel cable and you will put little dents in your good fine cutters. And this box jointed memory wire or snub nose plier for turning a loop is really helpful. This is really strong, so it handles that stainless steel cable pretty well. And so let me get a tray because I am going to do a little contemporary design with these pearls. Let me get a beading tray in here, and this is going to be my other project. I really love this color combination of pink and orange. It's one of my favorite color combinations, but this one is really festive because it's got a little bit of variation in the orange and then 3 different pinks. And I just love it. And I even love the color blocking, the way this strand was shipped out. So I'm going to do a really pretty necklace, and this is what I'm going to add in from my stash. These are these Azuki seed beads that came in the box, and then I have some 11-0 Tohos. And then these were just seed beads in my stash that were at a closeout at my local bead store. They were $1 a tube, but look at the colors. Look at this. Isn't that perfect? So I'm going to work from this tray because I'm going to be picking up seed beads for both of these projects. Just going to dump some seed beads out here. This little mix of oranges, I'm not sure how well you can see, but there's a couple of different colors of orange in here, which is just picking up the colors on this strand really, really well. So that's going to be my next project, but I'm going to use the Azuki seed beads because to me, this is like a pearl update. These are 11-0s and they're called Opaque Fuchsia. And this really updates pearls to pop a bright, opaque, like really, really dark, rich pop of color in between the pearls. Like it's really an update because old-fashioned, your Nona's pearls would have either a knot in between or would be accented with gold or silver. So to do your accent in an opaque bead is just going to give it a little bit of a contemporary vibe. And I don't know if you remember, but because it's been a while, but I follow this company in Italy called Collanini Colorate, and they use pearls, freshwater pearls, and tiny little gemstones, and then really colorful accent beads to do really updated contemporary jewelry that's kind of minimalist, but really colorful and beautiful. And so I kind of get a lot of inspiration from their designs from that company. And I shared it with you, like, I don't know, it's been over a year, so maybe you don't remember. But one of the things that I saw in the marketplace was a lot of times I like to do 2 or 3 loops on the end, and I usually use the small mandrel on the snub nose plier, but I saw these with a large loop and just a single one. So that's what I'm going to try today. So I'm going to just get started here. since I'm going to repeat the same pattern through this whole bracelet, I'm going to line up my memory wire at the end of the snub nose plier, and I'm just going to turn this back until it's touching itself. I usually do a small loop, and I saw these bracelets with the larger loop at the end, and I really liked the way that it looked. Look at that. It's really pretty. Okay, so now I can just string from one end, and I'm going to start off with a pearl. And then I think what I'm going to do is a little pattern. I had a few of these half gold, half crystal check glass faceted rounds, and I'm going to pop those in for my gold accent. So I'm going to do a pearl and one of the Azuki seed beads, a pearl and a Azuki seed bead. I'm going to do 3. I think I'm going to do a section of 3, and then after my Azuki seed bead, my bright color, then pop in one of the check glass faceted rounds. Which for me, that's a little departure in the way I normally would choose to string, because I normally choose my favorite gold or like copper metallic as my spacer bead, but it's going to be this really bright pink this time. Oh my gosh, you guys, these are, I thought these were regular 6mm check glass faceted rounds, and I am looking on my stringing, and I'm like, why are they off to one side? These are faceted round trios. So they have 3 holes in them. So you can definitely use them as a single bead if you run your stringing material through the center hole, but I think I am going to take these off and save these for another project because they are trio with 3 holes in them, and I think I'm going to just get a regular 6mm gold check glass faceted round. So just be a second for you. Okay, like I said, you can use a 3-hole bead as a regular bead if you just string through that center hole, but I hadn't noticed, or when I unboxed, I guess I forgot that there was a 3-hole bead in this month's box, and that's just too wonderful for doing a bead weaving pattern. So I went into my stash and I didn't find the half gold, half crystal check glass faceted round, but I found these pink ones and I found these smaller orange ones. And so I decided to pop a little bit of orange in my bracelet and then use the gold seed beads for the gold element. And I just absolutely love it. I think the bright opaque colors really modernize the pearl, and I love it with the necklace that I'm going to make. So I'm going to continue stringing, and what I did is, 3 pearls and then a pink, a pearl, an orange, a pearl, and I'm just alternating. I'm going to kind of continue that pattern and see where I end up here. So on this side of my pearl, I need one of the Azuki fuchsias. And I'm just going to keep stringing. Like if you've ever done a memory wire bracelet, you just have to like keep stringing and pushing your beads down. So next would be one of my orange check glass faceted rounds. And then there's really no easy way to do this. One bead at a time. And I decided just to do one overlapping coil. And then I'm going to go back to a pearl. And so I'm just going to continue this pattern. Okay, I got my pattern in there. I'm finishing on a pink. I had decided I was just going to continue with my 3 pearls and then, pink, orange, pink, 3 pearls, pink, orange, pink. And wherever it ended up, that's where I would stop. And I love that it ended on a pearl. So I'm just going to come back in with my snub nose pliers and do another really large loop. And you can turn your loops down on these if you want to, or even off to the side. I have the habit of turning my loops up when I turn them. And also I find that if I am rolling toward me, I'm right hand dominant, I have a little bit more control. So I tend to put my plier in so that I am rolling like that toward myself. And so like to turn this final loop sometime, or where really a lot of wire will bounce back. So what I did is like overturn just slightly, so I want the wire to be touching itself. But I absolutely love that. I just need to decide on drops. So I had already made this little pearl into a drop, and what I think I'm gonna do is do that on one side, and I'm gonna do an orange and pink little drop on this side. Let's see if they're gonna look okay together. Yeah, I think so. So then I'll have all three of the beads in my dangles on my bracelet. And so this one is on 22 gauge wire, and I turn the pearl into a dangle, not your normal like head pin. And so I'm gonna do the same thing to the pink one. I'll show you how I did that. And then I'm gonna get a little ball head pin for the smaller one. And so I'll have 3 dangles in total. Okay, so to make this into a little dangle without a head pin, just using it in a wire, I'm gonna put my bead through my 22 gauge wire, and you can even do smaller wire, but I wanted to do a simple loop after I twist this, so I did the 22 gauge. And then I'm just gonna bring this together. I didn't quite have it in the center. Try to get it in the center, because then when I twist, I have more wire to work with. So I'm just gonna bring it up, and I'm going to take my pliers and pull it together, but I mean the 2 ends of the wire together. I haven't had my second cup of coffee, so I can't talk yet. And then I'm just gonna put my nylon jaw pliers over both wires and twist my bead. Just use the bead like a little handle and give it a twist all the way to the end. Just like that. Isn't that cool? And then I'm going to grab this wire and bend it. And then I'll take my round nose pliers and put them in. It's a little hard to hold everything straight when the wire is twisted, because it's twisted. And I'm gonna bring that wire over. So I'm just treating the twisted wire as if it's a regular wire. Rotate my round nose pliers, bring that around. Just get that loop nice and centered on my bead, just like that. And then I'm gonna take my cutters and come inside the loop with my flat side of my flush cutters and just snip the twist. And that just gives me a beautiful twisted, simple loop. And then I'm just gonna close it up, just get that wire in there and tidy everything up. So there's my little dangle. And then on this one, I'm gonna use this 1-inch little ball head pin, and I'm gonna put the orange check glass bead and one of the Azuki seed beads. So my head pin is gold, so I have all my colors represented here. And then I'm gonna do a simple loop here as well. Just give that a bend. I'm gonna use my smaller round nose pliers, and just because it's a tiny little dangle, and bring that around. Get a nice neat loop that's centered on my beads, and same thing, come inside and snip where the 2 wires meet. And I'm gonna attach these to my bracelet with jump rings, fancy jump rings. So there's that little, so I'll put these 2 on one side and my pearl. These are my beloved gold-filled diamond cut jump rings that come in an assortment of 3 sizes. They just give such a quality look to my pieces. I love them. And I save them for things like this where I have pearls and check glass, and it's my favorite colors. So I'm gonna open this, and to the end that finished with the pearl, I'm going to add the pink and orange and fuchsia dangles. And then to the other end that finished with a pink bead, I'll add the pearl charm. Isn't that just beautiful? I love that little bit of dangle, and I just love the modern twist to the pearls of the bright opaque colors and the fuchsia spacer beads. And I still got my beloved gold in there, so I'm gonna set that there so that I can look at it while I start on my necklace. And most of this necklace is going to be off camera because what I have done here is threaded a number 10 beading needle with some 10-pound fire line. And I'm actually using up something that I've had in my stash for a long time. But so you could really use almost anything that you want for this. And what I'm going to do is just create a little pattern. I might even pop in some of the check glass faceted rounds that I put in my bracelet here, but I am just going to string a really super long necklace with no clasp, one that I could even double over or tie in a knot or wear really long like the 1920s flapper girl. And as I start stringing, I will decide if it's going to be random or if I'm going to do a pattern. I really like the color blocking on the gemstone strand that came in the box. So what I might do is keep those blocks. So like an orange, a gold, an orange, a gold, and do that as my first block. But before I do have a wingspan of thread here, so I'm gonna come to this end and put a little stop bead on this end, just not be brave. Sometimes I'm brave and I string, but I'm not gonna do that today. So I'm just gonna take a bead that I'm not using in my design and thread it on the other end and just loop it back through. And just leaving enough of a tail because I'm going to knot this piece. I'm just gonna do a final knot when I'm all done stringing. Cat hair in there. So I'm gonna just leave enough to tie a good few knots when I'm all done, and my stop bead is on. So now I can just have fun stringing my pattern, and I really am liking the idea of popping a gold in between each of the orange here and keeping it in a block of color. So what I'll do is what I just did, remove each block and string a gold 11-0 Toho in between. I love these long necklaces and I love this kind of a stringing project. It's so relaxing. It's easy stringing. Stringing with a needle is so fun as opposed to picking up bead by bead. It's really relaxing, and so I love this kind of a project, and I love knowing that, you know, I have a mile of stringing to do before I get to the end. So that's my first little color block, and then I'm going to switch to something else. I'll do a gold here and then a bugle bead, a fuchsia. Does the fuchsia? Nope, I think I'm gonna do a gold, fuchsia, gold, bugle bead, and I might even, I have about 8 pearls left over, so I might even pop a pearl in. So it's going to be color blocked like that, but then also be a little bit random too, because I'm going to mix in like these orange seed beads, the bugle beads, the fuchsia, and pop in some gold here and there. So I'm going to just continue like this, kind of just doing a string, and I'll pop back in and show you kind of what it's looking like after I get some on here. I'm gonna make another cup of coffee so that I can talk. Okay, I'm a good bit of the way of my stringing, and I have so many beads, I might even be able to do a second necklace, but I am just creating little pattern blocks. You saw the first one, and using those bugle beads and the seed beads, and I did pop in a pearl, and then just this is a little pattern in between that color block of the gemstones and bugle beads, pop in another pearl, another section of seed beads, and I'm up to this one here where I'm doing 3 gold 11 O's, a bugle bead, 3 gold 11 O's, a bugle bead, 1, 2, 3, a bugle bead, and I'm going to discontinue that little pattern with a gold 11 O and just bring it down to my strand, and then I'm going to take off the next group of gemstones. And I did use a couple of my orange check glass faceted rounds, just pop those in. Got my little self mixed up here. And so I finished with a gold, so I'm just gonna pick up a gemstone rondelle, a gold, a gemstone rondelle, a gold, and so what I'll do is look and see if I'm happy with the mix of color, and I think I want to put my Azuki seed bead in this section a little bit, so I'm going to take these two off because what I'm trying to do is to avoid having like a huge too much amount of one color. Like for this here, it's just going to be a little bit too much orange, and it's repeating this same pattern here. So I'm going to do a gold, an Azuki fuchsia, a gold, and then a rondelle, a gold and Azuki fuchsia, a gold, and then a rondelle. And so that's how I've been just creating my little pattern, little blocks of pattern, and just keeping that color mix going. So I'm going to continue gold, fuchsia, gold, gemstone, rondelle, gold, fuchsia, gold. And so I have these little mantras in my head as I'm stringing. Like I said to you guys, this is the most relaxed way to make a necklace, just to thread a needle and just sit and quietly like pick up your beads and play with the patterns and the shapes, mixing in the bugles, the seed beads. I absolutely love this kind of a project. So I'm going to keep going and I'll check back in. Okay, this was such a fun stringing project. I have finished here and I'm about to take my stop bead off of this end. And I did hold this over the edge of my beading mat just to make sure there were no gaps in it. And I'm going to do it again. And so I just looked at how much tail I have left and where I'm gonna finish, and come back around, and hence the stop bead. And I'll also put my ruler out here after I tie this off and tell you how long it is, but I'm gonna just hold this here. Look at this gorgeous necklace. It's such a beautiful mix. I love it. I had so much fun stringing it and just creating all of these different bead patterns, just shifting from gold, pink, gold, orange to 3 gold, pink, 3 gold, pink. And I just did that all the way through. Bugle bead, gold, 3 orange, bugle bead, gold. Like I just had all these little mantras, and it's very relaxing. And so because of the length of this, I can twist it, I can knot it, I can double it around my neck, or I don't think I can wear it long. But I'm gonna just pull out of the camera for 1 second. I'm holding my 2 ends here, and I'm just letting this hang over the edge just to make sure that everything is pushed down and there's no space in. And I'm going to, my needle is still on here, and that's fine. I'm just going to get a couple of knots in this end, and then I'm going to put GS Hypo Cement. I'm also going to take the needle end and run my thread through a couple of beads and do a knot in another section just to make sure that I can pull on this and knot it and, you know, as a necklace and not have to worry about it coming apart. So I'm gonna turn my work this way and go in the opposite direction a couple of times, like that, and go again. Okay, it's pretty secure. I can bring it back on the work mat now. And then I'm going to go through, poke my needle through and just pull that knot inside. If I can get back through this gemstone bead, I might have to go through the seed beads. Let's see if I can. No, I got it. So I'm just gonna give that a tug, pull that knot inside, and I'm gonna come right here in between these two beads and do a half hitch knot and pull that really tight and do another one. And I'm gonna run my needle through a couple more beads, pull that knot inside, and just do that a couple times just to use up my thread and just make sure that this is really not going to come undone, so I can play with how to style it, like knot it, twist it, you know, and not have to worry about it coming apart or my knot getting loose because of me playing with the necklace. Just want to make sure that my knots are going in between two beads and not on top of a bead where I'm seeing my thread. So just give that a little pull. And I'm going to just run my needle through a few beads. And so when you give it a tug, it will pull the knot right inside the bead. And I'm going to thread this needle onto the other end as well. Let me zap this. I'm going to thread it onto the other end and do the same thing with the tail thread. I have ordered a new thread zap from Amazon because I've changed the battery in this one and it just isn't functioning anymore. And the new one that I have, if I like it, I'll start linking it for you, but it's pink, so it should work better. Okay, I'm gonna just thread my needle onto this end and do the same thing. Run it through a couple of beads and tie a couple half hitched knots. And I like to put a little GS Hypo cement if I feel like, you know, the piece needs it. I don't know that this one does. It's very lightweight for as long as it is, and for, you know, as many different beads as I have on there, it's very lightweight. Okay, so you cannot see where I have knotted off. It's run back through, and this is an infinity necklace. I mean, this is absolutely gorgeous. This is just going to be so much fun to wear and to play with and to style in different ways. Look at that. Let me get a ruler in here. And of course, you could take this design idea and do this much longer or much shorter, or you could do 2 or 3 concentric links, or put a clasp. But I really like the pop over my head design here. So let me see if I can get this on here. So it is 24 inches. It is 48 inches and another 10, 58, 59 inches long, approximately 59 inches long. So yeah, 60-inch necklace that you can wrap and twist. And I have some pave carabiners that I like to play with, and some old-fashioned like pearl clasps. But you can do like a torsade when you have the length where you twist like that. You can just pop this type of a long necklace over your head and just double it like that. Or you can tie a little loose knot, you know, like have kind of make a little focal, like a little Y necklace, you know, choose the like the pearl area so your pearls will be in the knot, and tie a little knot and have that over your head. You can have so much fun with a really, really long infinity necklace, and I just love these colors. It really is festive radiance. Okay, you guys, I do have a discount code for Potomac beads. I'll put the link in the description box underneath the video title. Tap more, then find more another time so that you get the whole box opened. And I'll put links to anything that I've brought in from my stash. I think the only thing I brought in today was some extra seed beads and some diamond cut gold filled jump rings, but they're always linked in my current favorite findings section. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're all doing great this winter, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, everybody.